Hey guys, and welcome to my 2023 Olympia recap. The last time I did one of these videos was the Arnold earlier this year and then the Olympia. So I'm going to do my best to do these for the Arnold and the Olympias going forward because I feel like you guys might get some value from it and understand more about the bikini criteria from my point of view. So I just got off the phone with Sandy for half an hour. We spoke and we agreed on basically almost everything, which is great. And when I speak to Sandy or Tyler and we have a common ground as far as placings and looks and stuff too, that really makes me happy as a coach because it means that I'm on the right track and I understand the category well. If I was speaking to Sandy and she's telling me things and I disagree with everything, that's not good for me or my athletes because that means I don't really understand the category. And if I'm in disagreement with the head judge of the Olympia, there is an issue there and I would need to realign my understanding for the division. But since we basically were in agreement with almost everything, I'm happy about that. And it means that I'm doing my homework and I'm doing my job as a coach. So we're going to get into it. I have individual pictures of all the top 15 plus my other athlete, Jill, and then I have comparison pictures too. So a few things. I think we'll go through each individual athlete first and then go through the comparisons. So Jennifer Dory was obviously the winner of this Olympia. Let me zoom in here. Okay. Hopefully it's not all like that, but so I think Jen was the clear winner from the front. She destroyed everyone in the front pose. It wasn't even close. Her tan was perfect. Her makeup was good. Hair was good. I really like the green suit. Reminds me of when she was competing back in 2018 when we first started working together. And then she went to all different shades of purple. But the green suit was a bold move, and I think it worked out for her. Some people said they didn't like it, but I really liked it on stage. I think it was good for her to get a different overall look and just go in with something different. I think she did a good job with that suit. I thought that she might not make it in proper condition in time because when they did the video for the Battle of the Olympians a couple weeks ago with her, Amy, Ashley, and Maureen, she looked very soft compared to the other girls. And I was like, we have 2 weeks left and it's going to be hard for her to cut down. And I can see that she was behind with pictures she was posting and stuff with her legs. But she brought it in. I think her conditioning was spot on, and I was really impressed with her physique on the stage. She has great stage presence as well, and just the overall package is why she won, and that's what Sandy said too. The one thing I was speaking about with Sandy and just what I thought in general was weird was her back pose, and I'm going to show you guys what I mean. So this is what's going to happen for all these pictures. Jen at this Olympia and last Olympia, she's standing super, super wide, and second. What that does, it takes away from her upper and outer glutes, right? And there's an asymmetry between her left glute and her right glute. So you can see her right glute here is a lot bigger than her left, but that's because she's posing like this. She's pushing her knees out very far. She's standing very wide, and it's not giving her a symmetrical balance shape from the back pose. And my understanding for bikini is that you need balance from top to bottom, front and back, right? And I didn't see a balance in the back pose here based on the posing. And I thought that Maureen dominated the back pose. I'm going to show you guys what I mean by this back pose here that Jen was doing. So this is what she did at this Olympia when she won. And I'm going to show you when she won in 2021, what she was doing in her back pose. So like you can see the differences in the back pose here. She's standing a lot closer together here in 2021 when she won. Her knees are not nearly as pushed out. There's a lot less of a gap between her legs. And that just makes her glutes look a lot rounder. And if you look at the two photos, you can see like more of a balance here, just in an overall stature and structure by her standing closer together. So there's a lot more of a, the shoulders go across into the waist down. And here it's like the shoulders are a lot more narrow than her feet are in her back pose. And I thought that might hurt her. And I was surprised that she won just based on that. Honestly, I had Maureen winning, but I think if she just fixed that, she would have looked much better. And you can see that this back pose here in 2021 is just much more symmetrical. And I don't know why she was doing this, but she still won, right? And I said to Sandy, she agreed that she thought that her back was a little bit too wide, but she thought that just overall that her physique and her stage presence and everything was just the clear winner. And Jen's a great ambassador for the sport, and she really nailed the conditions, like exactly the same as well as 2021. She was maybe a little bit tighter in 2020, it looks like, but not too much. But I think she was a clear winner in the front pose. Maureen was a clear winner in the back pose. And they just gave the overall look to Jen, which I can completely see. I just hope that girls don't start posing like this in the back pose at national levels and pro level on pro shades, because they're not going to be rewarded and for posing this for sure, because it does cause the glutes to definitely look a little bit flatter. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that, just comparing to Maureen. So this is why I had Maureen winning the back pose, because bikini is about proportion and symmetry, and what's been repeated to us a million times. And you can see here, her glutes and her legs and her upper body match a lot more than here when her legs are super wide, right? This is the correct posing for the bikini, and I feel like this was a little bit lopsided. Her Maureen's glutes are 100% symmetrical. They match perfectly with the shoulders, with the elbows, with the legs, and the feet, right? And here's obviously a little bit wider. And I just thought based off that, and even she lost last year. She was posing this last year and at the Arnold's. She posed like this last year at the Olympia. She came second to Maureen, and she posed like this at the Arnold and came third to Maureen. And I thought that since she was posing this again, that she might place second again, but apparently it did have an effect on her. But I do believe that if girls start posting this in the amateurs and pro shows, then they're going to be marked down, because it does cause an asymmetry, definitely in the back post. And you can see here with Maureen, the glutes are perfectly symmetrical and everything matches. The issue with Maureen, though, is that her tan was too dark. Sandy agreed. And for me, her shoes were way too high. I know she's trying to look taller by having higher platforms, but this is not good. This is way too much platforms. I don't even allow my girls to have these platforms. And I feel like the bling too is just very distracting. Like I was not sitting in the front in the prejudging, and I could see her shoes on the stage, like it was very distracting to me too. So I think she should go with simpler shoes. Let's see what shoes Jen were wearing. I'm sure they were maybe Olympia ones or something. Yeah, I think they're Olympia ones. So look at the difference in the shoes. Like, sorry. Oh my gosh. It looks like Jen here has a 1 inch platform in the front, and Maureen literally, it looks like she's 2.5, 3, maybe even 4 inches in front. And it's way too much, and it's distracting. I know she wants to be taller because she's short, but I don't think it helped her at all. And the taller the heels, the harder it is to pose, and the less it's going to make you have more of an hourglass shape, honestly, if you go too tall. So you definitely don't want to go this high with the heels. It looks like stripper shoes, and you don't want to do that. So I thought Maureen was the winner. I think she had an extremely good front pose and back pose. The back pose was the best in the show, I believe, based on symmetry. Her tan definitely hurt her. It was way too dark in the morning. But I feel like she has so much confidence, and just her presentation and everything is just so beautiful. Like, she knows she's beautiful, and you see it. She has the biggest it factor on the Olympia stage. I know she wasn't doing a vacuum in the front pose this time, and I agree it was better than when she won. But I feel like they carved her up a little bit too much. She's very full. Like, I think they filled her up almost too much. Like, you see her shoulders are full, her legs are full, but her midsection was a little bit full. I've seen her midsection a lot tighter, and I feel like she's just maybe a little bit bloated. And I think that could have hurt her front pose. And I feel like maybe if she fixed that and her tan was a little bit lighter, and I think she definitely could have won the Olympia. But could she be much better than this? I think they nailed the conditioning, the fullness, maybe a little bit less to keep her stomach tight, fix the shoes, and fix the tan. I think that she could win the Olympia again, obviously. And it's a preference at this level. So many small incremental details, like Ashley, Jen, Maureen, Issa could have won, and no one would have been like, oh, that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? They were so close to the criteria that any of them could have won, and people would have been like, yeah, I can see that. So Ashley here, in the morning, she was pushing too hard in her back pose, and Sandy said the same thing. And everyone's saying like her legs grew and stuff too, but her legs didn't get bigger. She's posing very differently. She's standing wider. She's pushing her knees out a lot more, and I actually like it. It actually looks pretty good. But I think she's pushing too hard in her back pose, and it's flattening her upper glutes to the top. And also, once again, this bikini is too high, and it's an angel condition cut, and it goes straight edged over. It doesn't help the shape of the glutes at all. Let me show you the difference. Oh, Marine suit is rounded, right? And then you have Ashley's suit. It's like a T across. It's edged here. Actually, let me show you something quickly. Yeah, that's exactly what that was. But let me show you the difference. This is the same suit that Issa was wearing like last year versus the one this year. So you see this, like, I did a video on it last year, but you see this like T cut across. That's what Ashley's wearing right now. Versus this year where Issa's wearing Toxic. And look at the difference in the suit. It's so much better, and it makes the glutes look so much rounder. You see what I mean? This is rounded with the proper amount of material. And here it's like, there's like a triangle, and then it's just like an edge, like a 90-degree angle. And that just hurts the shape of the glute a lot. And I think if Ashley had a proper suit bottom cut, it would make a big difference for her. I just don't know why that's not changed. But I think they nailed the condition literally at 100%. And I was very impressed. I think that was one of the best Ashleys I've ever seen. I think she has a lot of symmetry, but in the comparisons, I'll show you guys later, but she hides her glute almost a little bit too much. And I feel like that takes away from her S and like her S shape and her femininity and the roundness of her muscles compared to Jen and Maureen here. So next we have Laura Lee. Let me see where his pictures are. So this is an interesting one. So a lot of people, I got a zillion messages, and obviously a lot of people were wondering why Issa came fifth and not fourth. And I've had a lot of judges tell me too they had Issa in fourth. There's 11 judges. So they take the bottom three and the top three off. So it was the 5 middle. And Laura Lee had a score of 22, which means that 5 judges out of 11 didn't have her in fourth place, which I completely understand because she was very full and very big. And I knew this exactly was going to happen going to the show, and I'm going to show you guys why. And I'm overall just confused. I don't know why this happened, because she was told by Tyler in the video, right? She posted a video that Laura Lee's best shape ever was like the Arnold in Pittsburgh, right? And she weighed about 130 to 130.6 when she won the Arnold in Pittsburgh. And when she was with me, when we came second place at the Olympia, she was about 129.8, right? And they came in at this show like 136. So they were 6 pounds heavier than where they were told is her best look ever, which I don't understand. Someone sent me a couple pictures of our subscriber page or whatever. And as a coach, you guys know, if you're watching this, we get pictures all the time. How do you think this athlete, how they look? Are they going to be ready in time? What do you think? Especially close to Olympia. So people are messaging me like, how do you think she looks? I think she looks too big. What do you think? And I'm like, I was looking at the photos. So this is like something that she had posted that someone sent me. I think this was like 1 week out or 10 days out or something, whatever. But she goes 136.4 after yesterday's refeed. Good morning. And this was like 8 days out. And I can tell here she was massive, right? She looks very big, very round. The shoulders are huge, right? The delts are huge. And it says in the criteria, they don't want cut in the shoulders. They want smaller shoulders. They don't want a shoulder cap. And her glutes are very big. So I saw these photos and I saw similar ones, and they said that they're going to be maintaining this look, coming with a fuller look. And I've coached Laura Lee before, and I know where her weight needs to be for like the look to look where they want. And when she did Chicago Pro with me in 2021 and she won, she looked good, but she was 135 and they told her she was huge, right? So this was the 2021 when we actually beat Maureen at the show, which was funny. But she was 135 here on stage, okay? And she was big. And this show is actually where the whole wagon thing came from, the whole wagging glutes, because she had like crazy glutes, but she was like very feminine, but she was big, right? She was big for bikini. And we were told like, you got to downsize her right now. Like she's way too big. And we're 135 there. And then when she posted these and she was 136.4 a week out from Olympia and saying that they're going to maintain this, I was like, I don't understand the strategy, right? And I messaged a couple other top coaches and I sent them the pictures and I was like, can you guys look at this and tell me what you think? Because I don't know if I'm missing something. And I was like, to me, she looks very big and a little bit soft for where she needs to be 10 days out. And they said that they're maintaining this. And they both said she's too big and she's too soft. And I was like, okay. I'm like, if they pull this off and she wins, then she's a genius, because I don't see it. And I'm either missing something or they're missing something. And my confusion was too, is that she knows that her weight needs to be at like 130, so be at the Pittsburgh look, the Arnold look, like where the judges want her. Last year at Olympia, she was probably like 127, maybe 126. She was too lean. So I don't know why they made such a big change going from, say, 127 at Olympia, obviously she was too lean, 136, when they know that the look that she won to Arnold twice and the Pittsburgh, New York, weighing around like 130, right? So to come in 6 pounds heavier, I didn't understand the strategy, and I still don't understand it. Maybe the judges told her something different. You need to come in like fuller or something. I don't know, but clearly, what I thought was going to happen happened, and I was just confused at the overall strategy. So this is how she looked at this Olympia. I think everyone looks a little bit tighter in the pictures than in real life, even including Issa and stuff too. I feel like she's a little bit softer in this. Sorry, I'm too wrong. I don't think so. Yeah, so this is the back pose here. It's a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to show you, let's see if we'll keep this open here. This is at the Olympia where she came second place. This was the closest she ever got to winning the Olympia was with me in 2021, which is 1 point away from Jen. But look at the difference in the amount of muscle she has now and the conditioning, right? It's like the glutes are double the size, which is not fitting the bikini criteria. And this is when she won the Arnold, which is one of my favorite looks. I didn't coach her for the show, but it was one of my favorite looks of hers ever. And obviously this year too, but they don't have any pictures of the Arnold on, unfortunately. But this is when she won the Arnold, right? And this is also a lot better than, you can see the conditioning here needs to be tighter. Her glutes are very full and round. And you're going to see like a difference in the front pose as well. This is Olympia. This is our Olympia, where she came 1 point away from winning. Look at the conditioning in the legs versus here. It's a big difference. And the size too, right? Look at the size of the glute in the leg, the front pose. And then I'll show you the Arnold where she won her first Arnold that she won. Same thing too. It's a major difference in conditioning and muscle. It just is. So I was confused. I was confused at the strategy, but the thing is with Laura Lee is all she needs to do is be at her best, and she's going to win the Olympia. So what's confusing is she knows that the look that they want, because she's won with it like 4 times now, double Arnold, Pittsburgh, and New York. And they just at the Olympia, there's always like a major change, right? So she won last year, she won Arnold, Pittsburgh, New York, and then the Olympia comes in way too lean. And then this year she wins the Arnold. They say it's her best look ever. And then she comes in 6 pounds heavier, right? So but the thing is with Laura Lee, there's just something with her in the Olympia. It's just, there's always something that happens, or there's just like, something needs to change. And I don't know why. If she just, maybe it's like nerves, she just comes in as she always does, she will win. The only person she has to beat is herself. Because sometimes athletes, right, depending on genetics, if they come in at 100%, their 100% isn't going to be better than someone else's 95%. Like, let's say someone that came in the last call out, right, at the Olympia, they came in at 100%. That's their 100% is still not going to be Jen Dory's 95%. You know what I mean? Based on genetics. And if, let's say, Issa, Laura Lee, Jen, Maureen, Ashley, Amy, everyone's at 100%, Laura Lee's at 100%, Laura Lee wins because she has the best genetics and best structure for bikini. But she needs to beat herself. It literally does not matter for Laura Lee how everyone else shows up. Everyone could show up at their best. As long as she is at her best, she wins every time. So she's her biggest enemy and her biggest asset, because it's great to be like, if I'm at my best, I'm going to win. It doesn't matter how everyone else looks. You know what I mean? Some people could only beat other athletes if the other athletes are off, but with Laura Lee, it does not matter. She just has to come in at her best, and she wins Olympia. But for some reason at the Olympia, there's always like some major change in physique. And even with me, it was the same thing. It's just, I don't know what it is. And it's just, she can win the Olympia. Everyone thought she was going to win last year. Everyone thought she was going to win it this year. But it's just something happens at the Olympia that it's just like some major physique change, and it's just never the same as the other shows that she wins. I watched a few clips of like her recent podcast that she did after Olympia, and I feel like she's matured a lot as a person, as an athlete, and that's good. I hope that she has. But yeah, if she wins the Olympia one day, I would like to see it for her too, because I know that you can win as many shows as you want, but you want to win the Olympia, right? It's going to be like her 6th year at the Olympia now. Next year is going to be 7th, and it's been doing this for a while now, and you still haven't won it. It's the one title that you don't have, so I get it, but she just has to nail it on the Olympia day, and she doesn't have to obviously gain any more muscle. It just has to come in proper condition, proper performance on that day, and hopefully she gets it sooner than later. Issa Bishini, my athlete at this show. I really appreciate all you guys messaging me and letting me know what you think and stuff too. And I'm so happy I didn't see one negative comment on her shape. No one said she looked too lean or not good enough or this. Everyone's, this is Issa's best. This is Issa's best. And when the second I walked out on stage, my heart was like pounding until she stepped out. She did her routine. She did her individuals. I was like, okay, no matter what placing she gets, she looks phenomenal. I know it's her best look ever. And I talked to Sandy too, and she said that was like her best look ever too. That's all I could have done as a coach. That's all she could have done as an athlete. Issa did everything I told her to do. She worked her ass off with the posing. She dieted. We had a little bit of a weird peak this show. I don't want to say what we did, but it was like not a conventional peak, and it was like a lot of manipulation here and there, but we nailed it exactly where we should have. And I told her, like, listen, go into this Olympia like you're going to win. That's how you got to present yourself on stage. And I promise you, I'm going to bring you in at your best. Just trust me and do what I tell you to do. And you're going to be your best. And then wherever they place you is where they place you. You have no control over that. But as long as we bring your best, that's all we have control over. And that's all we can do. And I feel that we did that. And she wanted to be top 5. And we were top 5. And I was really content with that because she's back in the mix at the O, the top girls. And The fact that Jen actually reclaimed her title was the first time that anyone in the bikini division has ever lost and then reclaimed their title. And that gives me hope for Issa, because that means that she could eventually maybe do it one day. So that makes me really happy for her. As a coach, my job is to do shows with the athlete, take feedback, and improve. And that's exactly why we did the 2 shows this year. I've only been working with Issa for 8 months. We did the Texas show. She came second. It sucked. It hurt, right? But I took feedback. We came back a week later. She was much better at Clash. We won that. And then Sandy was so impressed with the changes we made from Clash till now. And I was like, what, like 7-8 weeks ago or something? I couldn't believe the changes even from Clash to now. So the posing was perfect, tighter. She's like the overall package. So the second Issa walked out on stage, she knew that she was on and she was going to do some damage. So that made me really happy that I received positive feedback from everyone. And it keeps me motivated as a coach to know that I'm doing a good job and that I'm able to guide my athletes to excel and be the best versions that they can be. And I put a lot of time into this, and my athletes put a lot of time, and I want to make sure that we're going in the right direction. So I feel like we definitely are going in the right direction for Issa. I still got to talk to Tyler and Etula and a couple other judges just to make sure that I understand all the detail possible, because Issa talked to Etula a little bit backstage, and she was saying like some different feedbacks, and I'd rather just talk to the judges myself. So I understand what the judges are saying when they say it. I don't want it like a broken telephone. So I'm going to talk to them directly myself, which I plan to do this week. And then we're going to make a game plan for the next show. So quickly, I'm going to show you guys like her shape last year versus this year. Front pose is always excellent. We know that. But just overall, like the confidence and like just the posture of the pose is just a huge difference from last year. You can see just like the roundness, the density in the muscle, the fullness, just the posture, right? I think it's just an overall much more balanced and good look. But the biggest change is obviously the back pose. On NBC News Online, there was no close picture of the back pose for Issa. It sucked. It was just like her walk to the back pose. So it's like further away and a little bit less. It's not as good as obviously her initial front pose at the start of at the front of the stage. But let me show you guys. So this is last year, 9th place versus this year. And the placing doesn't really matter too much, but it's just the physique. But you can see a huge difference in the quality of the glutes, the fullness everywhere, the roundness, right? Here she has no really upper glutes, not really any tie-ins at all, very flat lower glutes, flat shoulders, flat legs. And here we can see like a lot more roundness, a lot more fullness. And that really makes me happy that we were able to improve her glutes so much and really bring her in. One judge said that her glutes are too big now. And I was laughing. I was like, no one would have ever thought that Issa's glutes would ever get too big. But Sandy said they weren't. I'm going to go off that, but we're going to keep improving. I don't know exactly what we need to improve on yet. I think we can make her a little bit softer in the hamstrings and keep working on her lower glute area, because I want to bring in her tie-ins as good as I can. They were pretty good here, but we need to grow this muscle here. And this muscle is very tight on her. So she's going to like massage every day, break down the muscle tissue, and we can keep developing like just this area, which is, it is the lower gluteus maximus, but it's not really a muscle you can directly isolate and target, because you're going to be growing the whole gluteus maximus. So I think we could grow our adductors a little bit more here, the inner thigh, and then like maybe a little bit more hamstring, and just keep like filling out this area. But she says she's been trying to do this for 5 years, but this is like the best her glutes have ever looked, obviously, on stage in her entire career. So we're in the right direction and we're doing the right things. We just need to refine and maybe go over a little bit of a game plan to try to get this area a little bit better. But we spoke about it. We have an idea of what we're going to do. So I'm really happy with the posing, really happy with the overall shape, and I'm just really proud of Issa as an athlete for doing everything she possibly could and finally getting back to the mix where she belongs. So Amy, this show, I thought Amy looked great. I've seen her pop a little bit more, like just in general, stand out. Maybe like the Pittsburgh and like for me, like New York, like she stood out like as the obvious winner, but here she got lost in the mix. I don't know what it was. Maybe she could have been fuller. I don't know. I can't pinpoint it because she looks very consistent all the time. When I had Amy as a possible winner of this show before the show, because I was just like, Amy comes in consistent all the time. She's never like in the bad condition. She's never too soft. She's always like full. Like she never looks bad. You know what I mean? So I don't know what it was, but it's just at this level, sometimes just the structure and it's just like the proportions make a difference at the Olympia. That's just what it is. And I think something that I know that they changed her front pose a little bit. She pulled her shoulder back here. This was a little bit too much. She used to pull her shoulder fully frontwards, and then she pulled it back here. But I feel like this foot position was better because I feel like her quad and her leg here are just way too big in the front pose when her foot is more profile. and her glute is twisted to the front. If you look at let's look at Jen. You can see the difference here, like in the size of the leg and the glute. Like it's a huge difference between Amy and Jen. And I feel like she needs to go keep this upper body like this, but go back to this lower body like this. And I think that'd be a perfect combination for her. And she'd be a lot more balanced because they don't want the full glute frontal like this because she is short and it does make her legs and glute look way too big. Yeah, she nailed the conditioning. I wonder what her feedback actually was, but at the end of the day, at this level, like all the top girls like nailed it. I know Laura Lee could have been leaner, but let's say like Jen, Maureen, Ashley, Issa, Amy, like all these girls, like they're on at like 95, 98, 99%. So many, like such small incremental details. At the end of the day, sometimes it's just the best genetics win or just small things. And just the fact that it was 11 judges and 5 of them didn't have Laura Lee in fourth means that is also subjective. And some people just have preferences over others for different athletes. That just is the bikini category. So next is Ariana Brothers. So this girl, when I saw her at Clash, actually she came, I wasn't at Tampa, but I saw her come second to Ashlyn. And I was like, holy shit, this girl is so good. Like her structure is so good for bikini. She competed against Issa at Clash and she came second place. And the second she walked on stage, I'm like, damn, this girl's back shot is good. Like she literally has perfect bikini structure. Like her waist can be a little bit tighter, her legs can be a little bit fuller, and she needs more density overall. That's why Sandy said Issa beat her at Clash because Issa has so much more density and this girl has baby muscle. But if there was one athlete in the bikini category that I would like to coach, it would be her because I think that she can be like the next all-star. She could win the Olympia in a couple of years, I think, if she just brings it. And she's never yet been in perfect conditioning. I've seen her compete 3 or 4 times now. She never has nailed her conditioning yet. She still needs to be a little bit tighter here, you can see, and she could be a little bit fuller. So she just needs to find that balance in the conditioning, and she's going to be dominating this girl. She's like perfect round glutes, perfect symmetry, excellent balance, just an all-star of a bikini athlete. Genetic-wise, she's beautiful too, good posing. She could be the next all-star. She could be the next come-up athlete, but she's nailed that conditioning and bring that perfect fullness, and she's going to be doing some serious damage. And I told her, I'm like, you're going to be top 10 Olympia this year, next year, guaranteed. Right when Issa beat her in Clash, I told her, I'm like, you have amazing genetics. You're going to be top 10 this year or next year, and she did. So she was 7th at her Olympia debut, which is absolutely crazy. And I'm very happy for her. Ashlyn Little. Ashlyn, I was so impressed with her back pose. I think she has one of the best back poses in the entire division right now, honestly. Like, perfect conditioning, which are full. She's very round. She's very full. Very impressed. I wonder what her feedback was. I think she nailed the conditioning. I think her front pose is what hurts her the most. She falls forward a lot on her front pose. And in Texas, she was doing that too. And I asked them, I was like, don't you think she's falling a little bit more on her front pose? And they said no, but it is very apparent in the comparison lineups I'm going to show you after that she's like leaning too much on her back leg and she's not standing tall, and it really takes away from her balance and just her posture, and posture is extremely important. So let me show you the difference between like her and Jen. Jen has the best front pose of the show. It's a very big, so Jen doesn't really have weight on this back leg. She's keeping all the weight on her main leg, and her chest is fully upright. And you can see a huge difference here in just overall balance and confidence just based on the pose. And this is something she needs to fix, I think. And I think she loses a lot of points on her front pose based on this. Also, I think her implants might be a little bit too big. It could be the suit top being too big. I don't know, but that's something they need to assess. I do think it takes away from her midsection and her overall balance too, because bikini is about balance. And that's just, sometimes that happens. The implants are just a little bit out of balance, either maybe too small or too big. And I think she might be dealing with that. I think she also, her hair here for prejudging was a little bit like too full in the front. I feel like she fixed it for finals, if I remember correctly. I don't have pictures here, but I think she could have, I think she did realize that and she fixed it for finals. But I think they nailed the conditioning and fullness. At the end of the day, it's going to be a genetic game. And I'm happy that for Issa that we were able to redeem ourselves and we were able to place ahead of Ashlyn this show. I love Ashlyn. She's a great person and competitor. But just as a coach, it means that we made the improvements that the judges told us to do. And we made a statement at the Olympia and we brought the best Issa that we could possibly bring. So now we're going to go to Raja. So Raja had a rough year. She had a rough year last year too until the Olympia. So I think the issue is she waited too long in the season to qualify, and she came in extremely soft. She won an easier show earlier, I believe in like September, when she was soft, and then she came like 3rd place to Rihanna and another girl a few weeks before the Olympia, and they just had to diet her down. So she was soft, and they knew that after she came 3rd, and they just had to diet her down too quick and too hard in the next few weeks leading up to Olympia. And she just came in, I think, a little bit too flat, and she still needs to be a little bit tighter in the hamstrings, not a lot, but she's very depleted here. She's very flat. You can see like the look. Let me show you the difference between Go back to Jen. See how Jen's muscle pops and looks really round and full and alive. And here it's a little bit flatter, definitely. And I'll show you even like the back pose. We won't use Jen's back pose because the pose is a little bit weird, but let's go here. Just there's a lot more fullness here versus the muscle here just doesn't look like full and vibrant in here. And I just feel like also like her glute shape is a little bit wide instead of elongated. And I feel like the top girls have a little bit more elongated round glutes, and Daraja's always had wider set glutes. And I think that's just a genetic thing. There's not much you can do about that, but I think that definitely hurts her a little bit. But I think that the coming in very soft in September and then having to diet down so hard to get in stage condition definitely didn't help the muscle appear fuller, and that reflected her placing here. I think she was 9th, and last year she was 4th. Jordan, the show. Jordan's physique is honestly incredible. She has incredible glutes. She has a really small waist stuff too, but I was honestly surprised that she placed top 10. I thought she would be a lot lower because she was sliced and diced shredded. Like she walked down the stage, she had striations all in her legs, her back pose, she was extremely lean. You can see here she's like cross striations in her hamstrings and stuff too. And I've just seen her come in a lot better. And I've never seen Jordan come in this lean before, ever. And I was just surprised that she was placed as high because this is like nothing. In real life on the stage, she was ridiculously shredded. Let me see if I could find other pictures of like her previous shows. Sorry. And when athletes too lean, they walk out, you can see immediately just by like how the lines on legs and stuff too, before they even pose of how lean they actually are. So I found a picture of when she won the Rising Phoenix last year. I was at that show and I thought she looked fantastic, but I feel like that conditioning is a lot more what they want versus this, where she like, you can see a huge difference in conditioning between these two pictures. Like the glutes are definitely a little bit fuller here, but she's very depleted and very hard. And I thought she could have been beaten by some other girls just based on that, because when you're coming like super shredded, they place you really low because they don't want that to be part of the criteria. But her structure is very good, and the fact that she played 10th is a testament to that. So next we have Phoebe. I love Phoebe. Everyone loves Phoebe. She's such a kind soul and good representative of the sport and a good athlete. She looked good. She looked a lot better than she did a couple weeks ago when she came 6th place at the, what show was it? Hurricane. They came into that show too soft. It wasn't like a water thing. It was a body fat thing. She looked better, obviously, at this last Olympia than this one. But the reason for that is probably because they just need to lose. She said she needs to lose like 9 pounds in 10 days or something. So obviously your body's going to be tired. But they did really good on redeeming themselves and bringing in a much better condition look at. They posted this photo of her, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks out from the Hurricane Pro. And even with the downlighting, you can see the level, the body fat level. This is not water, it's body fat here in the glutes and the hamstrings. And this is how she looked at the Olympia last year, right? Which is crazy conditioning. So they came into the Hurricane looking like this, maybe a little bit tighter than this, but you can see here she was way behind on conditioning, at least 10 pounds. And they went on stage with that and she was given 6th place, but they're able to redeem themselves and come in a little bit tighter. But I think the biggest issue for Phoebe is that she gains a little bit too much body fat in the off season, like Laura Lee. And then to bring her back down is just a nightmare as a coach. And she's to diet down so hard for so long. And it's a lot harder to get an athlete in shape that is, let's say, 30 pounds above stage weight than it is someone that maintains a reasonable body fat level, like maybe 15 pounds or 10 pounds, depending on their height. And I think that's always something that she's struggled with and something that hopefully she can get control over, because it's going to make her preps a lot easier. And she'll be able to nail a lot more conditioning and not have to lose 10 pounds in a week and a half to get in stage condition. I like to see Phoebe continue to do good. She's such a good person. I like to see her succeed, and I just hope that she is able to control that offseason a little bit more, and she'll have a lot more consistent success instead of going up and down. 12th place was Vanya. Vanya's a very good athlete. She came up a lot in the past year or so. I think it's going to be like a genetic structure thing. At this level, Olympia, guys, a lot of it is genetics. As I said, it's your structure, it's how you were born, your waist, your muscle insertions, your roundness, your muscle bellies, all those things that play into it. And Even if she's at 100%, is she going to beat someone like a Jen or a Maureen 95? Probably not. But she has like beautiful skin complexion. Her tan was good. Her makeup was good. Her suit was beautiful. I think her shoulders are a little bit too big. You can see she was a little bit lean here. They don't want deep detail in the medial delt here of separation. So let's go back to Jen, who won. You can see a lot less division between the bicep and the shoulder here. This doesn't give a good representation though because her shoulders are sideways. But let's see from the year she won the Olympia. Yeah, this you can see the difference and the dent, like how hard and grainy and dense the shoulder is versus a softer shoulder here. Let's go to Maureen. Yeah, same thing here. Like you can see there's not really a line separating, and they don't want you to have cap shoulders. And this is a cap shoulder here. So I think that definitely hurt her a little bit. Her glutes are really good. They're super round. Second. Over here, then. Her glutes are really good. They're super round, maybe a little bit more fullness in the top, but I don't like her back pose here. She's like extending her leg way too much, and she's like hyper extending her knee. Like it's just, it looks like her knee's like bent inwards instead of pushed out. I know she's probably trying to hide her quads, but she's just like locking her knees in so hard that it looks a little bit off to me here. So I'll show you the difference compared to Maureen, who had the perfect back pose. See how her knees are like slightly pushed out and slightly bent versus her left foot here is way overextended compared to her left. Her right foot is way overextended compared to her left. And she's locking her knees in inwards instead of slightly pushing outwards. I think that hurts her back pose definitely a little bit because it doesn't look nearly as balanced from top to bottom as it does Maureen, who's doing the correct back pose here. I think she nailed her conditioning, maybe a little bit softer and maybe fix that back pose. She'll be good. I'm not sure how to say her name. I think it's Rihanna. JP told me, but this is another girl that can be a top 5 Olympia. She has a perfect structure, almost like clavicles to waist to leg ratio. I think she's a little bit flat here. You can see her muscles are a little bit depleted. And she could obviously grow a little bit more glute density. She doesn't have the glute density yet as the top, like, let's say 7, 8 girls yet, but she has a structure to be in the top of the Olympia for sure. She has a perfect bikini structure too. Posing is great. Conditioning is great. I think she could have been a little bit fuller, but even if she was like maximum fullness under 100%, it's still going to be hard for her to beat the other girls until she has more of that dense muscle. She still looks like a baby with baby muscle. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, okay, you got her, and you got Ariana, who has the same type of baby muscle, right? And then let's see someone who has dense muscle. Let's go Maureen. Yeah, this is a good example. So you see like how her muscles looks like it needs more maturity, and then Maureen's like very dense and hard and has a lot of, you can see like how many years of work she put into her glutes. Now let's go to someone like Issa too, same thing. See the muscles like just, it's dense. It's dense in the gluteus maximus. It looks like there's not a graininess to it, but just like a depth to it. Ashton, same thing here. Very dense muscle in the glutes versus a softer, more baby muscle look, but that just comes with time and keep pushing yourself in the gym and adding on that muscle tissue. Who else? Very dense muscle. See the muscle is very mature versus the softer kind of rounder look. Yeah, I think Rejwana has a top Olympia. All these girls in the top 15 can be top 5 Olympians, I think. To be a top 15 Olympia, you got to have good structure, and they all have a good structure, but sometimes just fine tuning things and small incremental details that are going to make a difference at this time. I'm really happy I saw Ariel in the top 14. I've always thought this girl had incredible structure. Glutes are amazing. Her S factor, her femininity is amazing. She has the package. She has the look. Her glutes are really good. She had a little bit more density in the glutes. Bring her hands in a little bit more in the back pose, and she tends to shift her hips to the left on the back pose, and she's not fully centered to the judges, where I think she needs to work on a lot. Her front pose here, I think she could use a little bit more. She needs to fix her front pose again. She needs to fix her foot position here. Her foot's too profile for her. She's showing like side leg, but it doesn't look like, it makes it look flat versus like round. Maybe they're trying to make her leg look wider, but it's not helping the roundness. Like, let me show you the difference between Jen and her. Look at the fullness and the roundness of Jen's leg and her foot position versus this kind of has a much flatter appearance. You know what I mean? And then she's also bending her arm inwards, which just looks like never bend your arm inwards like she's doing here because it makes you look very stiff. So let's look at Maureen for another example. Arms not bending inwards. Let's look at Laura Lee. Arms not bending inwards. You can't have your arm bending inwards like this because it just looks like you're a little bit more robotic. But this girl too, she has a little bit more muscle and really nails her posing, and she could be another top 5 Olympian for sure. Incredible structure. Like you can't these glutes are built, but this is genetic. The shape of the glutes, the perfect tying length, the roundness at the top, the fullness, everything. You know what's funny? I actually noticed Issa is the only athlete that's not from North America that was in the top 15. Every single athlete in the top 15 lives in the United States except for Issa. So that's a cool little accomplishment. I told Issa about that. So I love that. And that just goes to show like the quality in the States is just a lot better than everyone else in the world. And like a lot of the Europeans, they're great, but they come over here and they get destroyed because the caliber here is just a lot better. It just is, because maybe there's more competitors here, or the judges here and how they judge shows is just more aligned and typically of what like Sandy and Tyler would want, versus over there sometimes you're like, what's going on, unless there's like an American judge. But the quality of athletes is just better in the States for bikini. That's just the way it is. I think there's a lot of European athletes too that have coaches that don't understand the bikini criteria here, and that hurts them a lot. Like almost all the overseas coaches, almost all the athletes overseas have like local coaches over there, and those coaches don't understand the bikini criteria in the States, and that's why they come here and they get destroyed. And they have shitty, all the suits from like Europe and Asia and stuff too, they're all shit. They're all shit. You need an American suit. They use crappy quality stuff, and it's not good. And you need an American coach to tell you this. You need to invest the money in getting a proper suit or getting a good sponsor from the States. You can't buy these shitty companies. Even if they sponsor you, it's not worth it. That hurts you too. And then the posing over there too, like the coaches don't understand the American posing. And the advantage we have here is that we're in the States with the Olympia judges, right? And I'm at shows every weekend. So I see how Tyler judges every weekend, Sandy and Steve and Bill and Jack and whatever, and I can see what they want. But if you're overseas, there's fewer shows. The coaches don't have enough experience. They're not at the shows here in the States all the time. So it hurts the athletes over there to not be coaches, someone in the States that has the experience here and knows what the judges want. Number 15, Tamikia, phenomenal athlete, amazing structure. I saw her in Texas live, and I was like, holy crap, this girl has good structure. A little bit too lean here, a little bit shit, but she has, look how dense her glutes are. Like, she has the density, and she has a shape. She has a ridiculous waist. When I saw her, I was watching her live stream in Tampa, and she was like doing her individual. I was like, this girl's going to win the damn show. I didn't even know who she was. I'd never seen her before, and I was like, holy crap, who is this girl? You know what I mean? And then she came in Texas, and she came, I think she came third place, actually, behind Issa in Texas, and I was just like, wow, this girl has shape. A little bit too lean. You can see a little bit of striation here in the back leg here, the adductor area in her thigh. And then I think she could turn her hips a little bit more to the front on her front pose. She's a little bit too, they don't want the chest forward anymore in the front pose in bikini. They don't want it. They told us that. She needs to fix her posing here. Back pose coming a little bit softer, drop the hands a little bit more. And this girl, another one that could be a top 5 Olympian. Very impressive. My athlete Jill, I thought she could place a little bit higher. I think she was like in the third collar or something. Last year she came, I think, last place or second to last place. Then she joined my team. We won India together, and this is our first Olympia. I think she looked phenomenal. She's another one that could be a top 5 Olympian. Amazing structure in her front pose. Perfect waist. Glute. She could be a little bit tighter in the midsection, but she's another one that needs to control her off-season. I told her after every show, you can't gain like 12 pounds after every show in a week. You need to control your off-season. That's going to make it perhaps a lot easier, and she needs to just reverse diet and follow, and that's going to make her a much better athlete. Her back pose here, she's pushing a little bit too hard. We worked on this last 3 weeks. I told her not to arc her lower back as much, but she did it on the stage, maybe because of nerves, and it's making her glutes look flatter and wider. And Sandy said the same thing. She said she arched her lower back too much. And that's what I was like, that's exactly the feedback I had for her, was exactly what Sandy told me. And I said that her suit was ugly, which it is. No offense to her, but it's not her fault. She didn't make the suit. It was the designer. And she needs better makeup, and her tan was very light, but great structure, crazy full glutes. I said she still needs a little bit more density in the muscle, and that was the difference between her and like the top girls. And so I'm gonna arc her lower back more. And I asked Sandy, I'm like, what do you think of her suit and her makeup and stuff too? I'm like, does not play a big role? And she's like, yes, you're right, it plays a huge role. And I sent Jill a picture, and I was like, look how your suit looks on stage versus a Jen and Issa. Like, it doesn't pop. Look at the difference. It just looks like a Walmart suit, honestly. Like the crystals, it doesn't even look like just crystals on it. It's literally just a flat color. Let's see. Issa's a nice suit. Look at the difference in the quality of the suits. This is like Toxic Angels, and this is like some Asian company. Like, it's day and night. And I was like, you need to invest in this or get a sponsor, something that can pay for an American suit, because it makes a huge difference. And for me, the second she walked on stage and she was in that lineup, I was like, fuck, her suit is ugly. And it doesn't shine under light. And it's because the crystal quality and the fabric is not quality like we have here in the States. It's just not. And she says, you know what? You're right. I saw it right away. I'm going to fix this. And she was like completely like, she understood, right? Even with Ashton, she has a beautiful suit too. Look at the difference in the quality. This is why a lot of these European girls and Asian girls don't do very well here, because it's these small details that these coaches over there don't know. And she agreed that, she said, I agree my makeup wasn't great. I agree I'm like, we're using Lebu we're using Lebu at the next Olympia review or whatever, because they know the criteria. These random artists that don't know what's going on here in the suit companies, they suck. And it's just what it is. And maybe they suck because they don't know the criteria, but I got my suit for free. I'm like, yeah, but is it worth saving $500 and then placing low with Olympia because your suit is ugly, or would you rather just pay $500 and place much higher because you have a much better overall package, right? It's not worth it when you're dieting for freaking 16 weeks or all year, whatever you're doing, and taking PDs and practice your posing and doing 3 hours of cardio a day to just save a little bit of money and have a shitty suit. It's not worth it. You know what I mean? And she understood, and she said she saw exactly what I saw and that she would fix that going forward. So let's go here into the comparisons. So this is what I was talking about with Maureen clearly winning the back pose. Just the overall, the one balance in bikini, Maureen has a balance here better than anyone in the back shot. Just the top matches the bottom. It just does. And her stance is perfect. Her shoes are way too wide. Look at the heels here versus Jen's heels and Ashley's heels. It's too much. I know she wants to be taller, but it didn't help her here. And I hope she goes back to the shorter heels. But yeah, Jen's standing too wide here. She's still one, but you can look at the roundness in the upper glute here and the symmetry. Like the symmetry here between Maureen's glutes, right? Perfect roundness at the top, symmetry. And then here, this one's lopsided. It's lower. The upper body does not match the lower body because the feet is too wide. But Jen's front pose is dominant. She has much more symmetry than everyone else. Her waist is super tight. Glutes perfectly round, perfect conditioning. Her shoulders are very level. Maureen's front pose here, her waist could be a little bit tighter. She's showing too much lower back is the problem. She has a thick lower back, and she needs to angle her waist a little bit more to the front. So let's see like her individual here versus comparison. Yeah, look at the difference here. So you see like her waist here is more angled to the front versus this one, and you don't see her lower back here. But here she's fully showing her lower back. She has a thick lower back. So she needs to angle her waist a little bit more forward, and it's going to make her waist look definitely thinner. And look how much better her posture is here in her individual routine versus this pose where her back shoulder is down, and she looks a lot more confident and more symmetrical in this front pose than she did here in this individual picture specifically. I don't know why Ashley turns her glute so far away. I think it takes away a lot of her bubbliness and roundness that she could possibly have. I think look at the difference between Jen's leg and glute versus Ashley's leg and glute, right? It doesn't have the same pop, and I wish she would just turn her glute a little bit more forward. I think it would look a lot better overall and give her a lot more symmetry. Front pose here. Yeah, Jen's the clear dominant winner here in the front pose. But Ashley, yeah, I thought Ashley looked fantastic, but this front pose for me doesn't do it. I think makes her waist look a little bit thicker. Her hips are very forward, and she just hides her glute, and her legs look like string. Look how stringy her legs are here compared to Jen, right? It's a huge difference, and I think that's just a posing issue. Once again, Maureen's needs to be consistent in her front pose. Look at the difference between this other comparison where they moved her and this one. This is a dominant winning front pose versus this one, right? She's like leaning over on her back leg. Her chest, you need to be upright and tall and confident. Look how much better Maureen compares to Jen here in this front pose when she's tall and confident, right? It's very similar versus this one where she's on her back leg, leaning forward, shoulders are not level, she's falling over. This is almost like she's almost doing like the Ashland pose. Not as much, but it's still a lot more similar than that. Like you see this leaning on the back leg thing? It's similar to that. You don't want to have that. You want to be tall and upright like Jen. And that's the confident bikini pose that you want. Just like Issa. Issa nailed this front pose. Let me show you. Same as Jen. Look, tall, confident, upright, right? Same type of thing. And that's huge in bikini. You need to display confidence by posing properly. You don't want weight on your back leg leaning forward. So another back pose picture. Yeah, same thing here. The feet are very wide. Left glute obviously smaller, and there's not symmetry in the back pose here, but it's just like a broken record now. I think actually Ashley beats Jen in this back pose right here, guaranteed, because look at the fullness. Look at the symmetry from top to bottom. She beats Jen in this back pose here, and Maureen, I think it goes Maureen wins the back pose, and then Ashley and then Jen here, but she was still the winner. So obviously they maybe saw something different than I saw, but I just hope that girls don't start doing this back pose at pro level or amateur, because they're going to be definitely hurt. And she was the only one doing this pose at the Olympia girls in the top 15. Let's see here, top 4 finals. This pose is much better than what she was doing in the morning at the finals. So look at the difference. Maybe she realized in the morning and fixed it. I don't know, but look at the difference. Look how wide she is here versus this one. It's a lot more comparable. Look at the difference between Maureen and Jen here versus here. It's a lot more comparable, and her glutes look a lot better. Look at the glute fullness there versus here in the symmetry versus finals and prejudging. Still a little bit too wide, and pushing out needs a little bit too much, but it's a lot better at the finals. So maybe she realized it and fixed it for finals. You can see Worley glutes here are as big as Jen's and Maureen's combined. So she really needs to downsize and come in proper conditioning. and she has the genetics to win the Olympian. Look how much rounder, even look how round her glutes are compared to even all of them. Look at the upper and outer glutes of really compared to Ashley. It's not even close, but too big, and I think too soft for what they were looking for. This is the back pose of place fourth place to 9th or 10th place. I personally had Issa in 4th and Amy 5th and Lauralee in like 6th or 7th because I feel like they both fit the criteria more than Lauralee did at this particular show based on conditioning, and that's what the general consensus was from people who messaged me. But I don't know. Ashlyn's back pose is phenomenal. Jordan's glutes here look pretty good too. Amy looks good here. Yeah, Ariana's back pose, like the roundness is ridiculous. Look at the roundness her back pose, even like versus Amy, like she's just like round, full, like perfect glute genetics. Unbelievable. Versus, yeah, this is what I'm talking about with Daraja. She's very wide glutes. Versus, I like how hers is like 2 apples and here is 2 more like angled squares. That's just a genetic thing that you can't really change. But I was really happy with Issa's glutes and fullness and tie-ins and everything. But yeah, that was that. Let's see the front pose. Yeah, this is the same thing too with Ashlyn. Like look at the difference between standing upright versus the leaning over. It's a little bit better here, but I think she could improve that a lot. You can see the conditioning difference between, let's say Issa and Ashlyn versus Lauralee. Look at the legs. Look at the little bit of lines versus here is very soft compared to both of them. And her waist, I've seen her a lot tighter too. Raja was doing the wrong front pose the entire time in the comparisons. I don't know why. I haven't seen her do this before, but it was weird. You never want to block her glutes to the head judge ever. She looks like she's doing a figure side pose almost. Her upper body looks very wide, and she's hiding her glute, and that's not the bikini pose. She needs to angle towards the head judge. Like no one's look. Amy's not hiding her glute. Issa's not hiding her glute. Ashlyn, Jordan, Lauralee, Ariane, but she's fully hiding her glute, and you can't do that in bikini, right? Glutes one of the major factors of being successful bikini athlete. And she did that the whole time in comparisons. Here too, she's doing a transition, but same thing. She's still hiding her glute, and all of them are not. You know what I mean? So it definitely hurt her a lot, I think. And she looked very depleted and tired. Her body looked tired. Same thing here. They moved again, and the same thing. Just hiding the glute, different position, just so it's like she was consistently doing this over and over again. So judges can't be. If it's like a one-time thing, they move around, you fix it, they'll let it go. But if this is how you're posing the entire time, you're hiding your glute. But you should know this at this level, and I'm surprised that she did this. I was confused as to why she was doing this, but I don't have an explanation for it. And if one of my athletes did that, I would be upset if I told them not to do that. But overall, this was a really good Olympia. It's such a fun time. All the girls look really good, and I'm happy for Jen that she won the Olympia. She's a great ambassador of the sport. She looks phenomenal, and it's going to be another good year. But it just goes to show, like, Maureen won last year, then Jen, and then it was Ashley, and then Lauralee came 5th. And then at the Arnold, Lauralee won, and then Maureen 2nd, and then Jen 3rd, and then Jen just beat them both. So it literally could just depends on the day. They could any of the top 6 can win the Olympia, just depending on who's on that day and what the judges want that day. Bikini is a really fun category, and I really love coaching it, and I do my best to continue listening to the judges and listening to feedback and making my athletes as good as they can. So if you have any comments or questions, let me know. I'll do my best to answer, but I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you watching this far, and I hope you took something away from this video that you can work on for even your own physique. And I hope that you understand maybe a little bit more of the placings and why things were as they were. And if you disagree with me, let me know too, and I'll definitely look into it. And yeah, so hope you guys have a great day, and see you guys at Arnold.